Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast, the place where you learn to speak English naturally and confidently. I'm your host, Jason.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. We're so happy you're joining us today for another fun and helpful conversation.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about something very important. Speak the way you think. Have you ever had a great idea in your mind, but when you tried to say it in English, it just didn't come out right?
Oh yes, I've heard that from so many learners. You think one thing, but then you struggle to say it in English. Maybe you translate from your first language, or you pause a lot, or your sentence just sounds strange.
Exactly. And that's what we want to help you with today. This episode is all about learning to speak naturally by connecting your thoughts directly to English, without always translating in your head.
We'll talk about why this happens, how to fix it, and we'll even share some easy tips and daily practices that can help you train your brain to think in English.
Plus, we'll do a short role play and give you a fun challenge at the end. So make sure you stay with us all the way to the finish.
This episode is perfect for you if you want to speak English more fluently, more confidently, and more naturally, just like how you think in your own language.
All right, let's get started. First, let's talk about why people struggle to speak the way they think. So, Julia, let's begin with the big question. Why do so many English learners struggle to speak the way they think?
That's such a good question, Jason. One of the main reasons is that most learners think in their first language and then try to translate into English. But translation takes time, and it doesn't always work perfectly.
Exactly. And when you try to translate in your head, your brain gets confused. You start thinking, wait, how do I say this in English? And by the time you find the words, the moment is gone.
Yes. And another reason is fear of making mistakes. Many learners think, if I say something wrong, people will laugh at me, or what if I use the wrong word? So they hesitate.
Right. And that hesitation creates a pause between the thought and the speech. You know what you want to say, but you don't say it because you're scared or unsure.
That's so common, especially in beginners. And sometimes learners also focus too much on grammar. They want every sentence to be perfect, but language is not about perfection. It's about communication.
Yes, we always say this. Communication is more important than perfection. Native speakers make mistakes too, and that's okay.
Another reason people struggle is because they haven't trained their brain to think in English. Speaking is a skill. If you only read or memorize, but never practice forming your own thoughts in English, it's hard to speak freely.
I agree. And here's a good example. Think about how a child learns their first language. They don't learn grammar rules first. They just listen, copy, speak, and repeat. That's natural learning.
Yes, so if you're always learning English from books, but never thinking in English in your mind, then when it's time to speak, it feels uncomfortable.
So to sum up, there are a few big reasons. Translating from your first language, fear of making mistakes, focusing too much on grammar, not practicing thinking in English.
And the good news is, you can fix all of these with the right mindset and some simple daily habits.
That's what we're going to talk about next. So let's move on to the next part. How thinking in English helps you speak better. All right, now that we understand the problems, let's talk about the solution. Thinking in English. Julia, why is this so powerful?
Thinking in English is a game changer, Jason. When you train your brain to think directly in English, you remove the middle step of translation. That means your thoughts can flow more naturally into speech, just like a native speaker.
Yes, and that helps you speak faster and more fluently. You don't get stuck searching for words in your first language and then trying to convert them into English. Your brain is already in English mode.
Exactly. And it also makes your sentences more natural and clear. You begin to use real English patterns instead of direct translations, which often sounds strange or unnatural.
That's a great point. Like when someone says, "I very like it," that's probably a direct translation. But if you're thinking in English, you're more likely to say, "I really like it," because that's how English speakers usually talk.
Yes, and another benefit is confidence. When you think in English, your brain gets used to the language. You feel more comfortable, and you're less afraid to speak. It's like building a habit.
And you also start to notice common phrases, idioms, and expressions. The more you think in English, the more your vocabulary grows naturally, because you're using it in your thoughts every day.
It's true. Even simple things like thinking, "What should I cook today?" or "I need to clean my room." If you say these in English in your mind, you're practicing.
So, to sum it up, thinking in English helps you speak better because you speak faster with less hesitation. Your sentences sound more natural. You feel more confident. You improve vocabulary and fluency over time.
And the best part? You can start doing this anytime, no special class, no teacher, no cost. You just start thinking in English, a little at a time.
Up next, we're going to talk about the common blocks that stop people from thinking and speaking freely in English. Don't go anywhere. So now, let's talk about something really important. What are the common blocks that stop people from speaking the way they think?
Good question, Jason. One of the biggest blocks is what we call mental translation. You think in your first language and then try to change it into English word by word. That slows you down and makes speaking stressful.
Yes, it's like your brain is doing double work. First, it builds the sentence in your native language, and then it tries to find the English words. But language doesn't always match word for word, right?
Exactly. That's why sometimes the translation sounds strange. Another big block is fear. Fear of being judged, fear of making mistakes, fear of not being understood. All these fears create pressure.
And that pressure causes people to freeze. You want to speak, but your mind goes blank. You second-guess yourself. Is this correct? What if I sound silly? And then nothing comes out.
Totally. And here's another block. Lack of vocabulary. Sometimes you know what you want to say, but you don't know the English word for it. So you stop in the middle of your sentence and feel stuck.
Right. And instead of using a simple word or changing the sentence, you just give up. But the truth is, you don't need big words. You can say almost anything using simple vocabulary if you keep your ideas clear.
That's so true. One more block is overthinking grammar. Some learners stop speaking because they're thinking, is this past tense? Do I need have or had here? And that creates confusion.
Yes, and while grammar is important, it shouldn't stop you from expressing your thoughts. It's better to say something simple and clear than to say nothing at all.
So, let's quickly list the common blocks. Mental translation, fear of mistakes, limited vocabulary, overthinking, grammar.
And all of these blocks can be broken with practice, confidence, and the right mindset. And guess what? We're going to show you how in the next part.
Yes! Coming up next, simple daily practices to help you think in English and speak naturally.
All right, so we've talked about the problems, and now it's time for solutions. Let's share some simple daily practices that can help our listeners train their minds to think in English.
Yes, and the best part is, you don't need a textbook or a teacher for these. You just need a little time and a willingness to practice every day.
Exactly. So here's the first practice. 1. Describe your day in English. From the moment you wake up, try to describe what you're doing in simple English. For example, I am brushing my teeth, I'm making tea, I'm going to work.
Yes, and you can do this in your mind. No need to say it out loud if you don't want to. It's about creating a habit of thinking in English, step by step.
Here's the second one. 2. Talk to yourself. It might sound funny, but it works. You can look in the mirror and say, "What did I do today?" Or, "How do I feel right now?" It helps you think and speak at the same time.
Absolutely. You can even narrate what you see around you. The sky is blue, there's a dog running, that man is talking on the phone. These little thoughts build fluency.
Number 3. 3. Use English in your routine. Set your phone or apps to English. Watch short English videos, listen to podcasts, or even think in English while cooking or walking. The more you surround yourself with the language, the more natural it becomes.
That's so true. Here's another one I love. 4. Write short thoughts or journal entries in English. Just a few sentences a day. For example, "Today was a good day. I studied for 1 hour. I feel proud of myself." You'll start thinking directly in English without translation.
I love that. And one more practice. This is a powerful one. Practice visual thinking. Look at a photo, an object, or even a scene outside your window, and describe it in English. What do you see? What's happening? What might happen next?
Yes, it activates your brain and builds a connection between what you see, what you think, and how you speak, all in English.
So just to recap, here are the 5 simple practices. Describe your day in English. Talk to yourself. Use English in your daily routine. Write short thoughts in English. Use visual thinking with photos or real life.
And don't worry if you make mistakes. The goal is to think and speak freely, not perfectly.
Exactly. Remember, fluency comes from daily use, not just from memorizing rules.
Coming up next, we'll talk about how to build confidence and stop feeling shy when speaking English.
Now it's time for one of our favorite parts. Role play practice. This is where we help you use your English in a real situation, without translation.
In a Stitnico Proficient court, one seems of Embiana on the former lining grouping lines and on the internadicted verhens of a pound and remanding out loud.
All right, Julia, let's do a quick and simple role play. The setting is meeting a new friend at a coffee shop. I'll play the new friend, and you'll be the learner. Role play, meeting someone new. Jason, hi there. Is this seat taken?
No, it's free. You can sit here.
Thanks. I'm Jason, by the way. What's your name?
Nice to meet you, Jason. I'm Julia.
Nice to meet you too, Julia. So do you come here often?
Yes, I love this place. It's quiet and the coffee is really good.
Totally agree. What do you usually order?
A latte, usually, and sometimes a muffin if I'm hungry. Okay, listeners, now it's your turn. Let's do it again, but this time you answer. Jason will ask the questions, and you try to respond in your own words. Don't overthink, just speak naturally. Listener practice round?
Hi. Is this seat taken? Nice. I'm Jason. What's your name? Good to meet you. Do you come here often? Cool. What do you usually order? Sounds tasty.
Great job. Even if your answers were simple, that's perfect. This kind of practice helps you get used to forming thoughts in English, on the spot.
Yes, and the key is don't translate. Just respond with what comes naturally, even if it's not perfect.
And remember, you can do these mini role plays every day, in your mind, with a friend, or even by recording yourself.
Next up, we're going to talk about how to use real-life situations to practice speaking the way you think. Stick around. All right, welcome back. In this part of the episode, let's talk about something a lot of English learners struggle with: overthinking while speaking.
Yes, Overthinking is that voice in your head that says, "What if I say it wrong?" Or, "Is this grammar correct?" Or, "Do I sound strange?"
Exactly. And while you're thinking all that, the moment to speak passes, or you freeze up.
So today, we'll give you 5 simple tips to help you stop overthinking and start speaking more freely. 1. Focus on the message, not the mistake.
Your goal is to communicate your idea, not to be perfect. So instead of worrying about grammar, ask yourself, is my listener understanding me?
Yes, communication is the goal, not perfection. Mistakes are normal, even native speakers make them. Tip 2. Don't pause too long to find the perfect word.
If a word doesn't come to mind, use a simple word or describe it. For example, instead of frustrated, you can say, I feel a little angry and tired.
It keeps the conversation flowing and trains your brain to find new ways to speak. Tip 3. Practice speaking without editing. Try a 1-minute talk each day. Pick a topic and speak without stopping or correcting yourself. Just go.
That builds fluency fast. It helps you get used to thinking and speaking at the same time. Tip 4. Breathe and slow down. Sometimes we overthink because we're nervous. So, pause, take a breath, and speak slowly. It's not a race.
Right. Speaking slowly gives your brain time to organize your thoughts and your listener time to understand. Tip 5. Use positive self-talk. Instead of saying, "I can't speak well," say, "I'm improving every day." Your mindset matters a lot.
Yes, be your own coach, not your critic. The more confident you feel, the less you overthink.
So, just to recap, here are the 5 tips to stop overthinking while speaking. Focus on the message, not the mistake. Don't wait for the perfect word. Practice 1-minute talks. Slow down and breathe. Use positive self-talk.
Each of these tips helps train your brain to speak the way you think, clearly and confidently.
Up next, we'll show you how to turn your daily environment into an English-speaking space, even if you're not in an English-speaking country.
Welcome back. Now, Julia, I think one of the best ways to learn is through stories. Real stories about people who have learned to speak the way they think in English. Do you have any examples to share?
Absolutely, Jason. I love hearing real experiences because they show us it's possible. Here's one I really like. There's a student named Sarah. She used to translate everything from her native language to English. Speaking was slow and stressful, but she started practicing thinking directly in English by describing her daily activities and talking to herself.
That sounds familiar. What changed for Sarah?
Within a few months, Sarah noticed she could speak more smoothly. She stopped pausing so much and her confidence grew. The cool part? She didn't worry about perfect grammar anymore. She focused on sharing her ideas.
That's inspiring. I have a story too. I once met a guy named Ahmed, who was afraid to speak English in front of others because he thought his accent was wrong. But Ahmed started role-playing conversations alone, just like we do here. Over time, his fear lessened. He began speaking freely, and guess what? People loved talking with him. Not because his English was perfect, but because he was confident and clear.
Exactly, Jason. These stories show that fluency comes from practice and mindset, not from perfection.
So, listeners, if you're struggling, remember Sarah and Ahmed. Start small, practice daily, and trust the process. Speaking the way you think is a journey.
And every step you take brings you closer to speaking English naturally and confidently.
Next up, we'll talk about how to keep this momentum going and make English thinking a lifelong habit. All right, listeners, it's challenge time. Now that we've shared tips, stories, and practice ideas, it's your turn to try speaking the way you think.
Yes, For the next 3 days, pick one simple practice we talked about today, like describing your day in English, talking to yourself, or doing a 1-minute talk, and do it every day.
It doesn't have to be perfect or long. Even just a few sentences count. The goal is to build your thinking in English habit.
And here's a little bonus tip. Record yourself if you can. Listening back helps you notice your progress and gives you confidence.
We'd love to hear how it goes. Share your experience with us in the comments or on social media. Let's keep the conversation going.
Remember, speaking the way you think is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice.
So, take the challenge, and we'll see you in the next episode. We've covered a lot today. Let's quickly recap some of the most important points from this episode.
Sure. First, speaking the way you think means training your brain to use English directly, not translating from your native language.
We talked about common blocks like overthinking and how they slow you down.
And we shared simple daily practices like role-playing, thinking in English, and speaking without editing that help you become more fluent.
Plus, we gave you tips to stop overthinking, real-life stories to inspire you, and a fun listener challenge to practice on your own.
Remember, speaking fluently takes time and practice, so be patient and keep going.
That's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us on this journey to speak the way you think.
See you next time on the English Learning Podcast.